Hello everyone and welcome to Winterhelm Gaming. Alright, so if you didn't know, Game Informer's September issue is basically all about the Taken King, and all throughout this month they've been updating their website with some really cool highlights and content that I wanted to take the time just to run through with this video and talk a little bit about some of the topics that Game Informer touched on and give some opinions. Starting from the top, one of the biggest pieces of news coming out of this month is that Bungie has totally replaced Peter Dinklage as the voice of the Ghost. This is a change that I think many people have seen coming, but I don't think they saw it coming in the scale that it did. Essentially, Peter Dinklage is being replaced by Nolan North, who is pretty well known as the voice of Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series of games. I personally can't comment too much on the talents of Nolan North, as I have yet to play an Uncharted game, but from what I hear, he's very good. Now, when I talked scale earlier, what I meant was not only is Nolan North replacing the lines of the Ghost from Taken King onward, but Bungie also went back and re-recorded all of the lines from Vanilla as well. This is a change that I think in the long run needed to be done for sure, but it will be a bit sad seeing, or I guess hearing, Dinklebot go. Yeah, the voice acting was not the best, but it is something that I think is sort of part of Destiny's personality. You know, cringing every time you have to hear, "A priest from the prison of elders," or "Do you think they'd mind if we took their pikes?" It has sort of become a thing ingrained into some Destiny players' experiences. Nostalgic reasoning aside though, it is most certainly a good move moving forward. Next up, Game Informer kinda dropped a bit of a bomb on the community by delivering the news that legendary weapons and armor would not be capable of ascending to Year 2 power. Just to recap, when House of Wolves dropped, players were still able to ascend legendary and exotic items to the new damage cap of that DLC, and many thought that Taken King would implement a system akin to this when it launches, but that is not going to be the case. When the Taken King drops, weapons like Fatebringer or Praetor's Revenge, which is a personal favorite, will be very quickly outpaced by new armor and weapons that are on the way. One of the biggest signs of this is that it has been mentioned that during a playthrough of the Taken King, uncommon green weapons and armor were found that were better than comparable pieces of raid gear, as the Taken King will be resetting the rarity scale for higher leveled players. This is something that I suppose makes sense, still though it's very disheartening that all of the work put into building this quintessential loadout of armor and weapons has sort of been put to waste. Sure, the gear that we found and stuck to when the going got tough got us through those encounters, but in the shoot and loot game, guns are one of the things that I as a player became attached to. It's almost like losing an old friend, but I suppose there are always new friends to make, and that is sort of my overall take on this matter. If Bungie knows what they're doing, and I do believe that they know what they're doing, there will be guns that rival these older legendary classics, and while they most likely won't replace them in spirit, they may just provide enough of a taste of home to keep you from feeling too detached from the glory days of Year 1 legendary gear. Game Informer then spoke about how Bungie will be redesigning the way leveling works in the Taken King. As it stands right now, to get from level 1 to 20, you have to complete missions, do Crucible, complete bounties, etc. to get the experience needed to reach the level of 20. When you reach level 20, however, experience suddenly stops leveling you up and instead only contributes to a reward of a mode of light for every experience bar that you fill up. To progress past 20 requires getting armor with the light stat to increase your light level. This can be and is confusing to some, and I think that it's perfectly understandable why that is. The Taken King serves to remedy this by making the whole trip from 1 to the soon-to-be new level cap of 40 require only experience from completing activities instead of feeding solely off your armor. This is great because it eliminates a large learning curve for newer players while streamlining the whole experience and allowing players to truly wear whatever armor they want. All of this is not to say though that the whole light system will be ditched. Light as a stat will still exist, instead now it will be a factor of determining if you're ready for a challenge that the game may put forth. Say a quest that you have to do has a recommended light level of 20 and your light is 11. You should probably take some time to get better gear to bring yourself more in line with that level of 20, so that you will stand more of a chance. I'm not sure at this time if you'll be unable to play a mission or do a quest if your light is too low, but if anyone knows the answer to this, some information would be much appreciated. The next thing that Game Informer did was have one of their traditional rapid-fire interviews, much like the one they did with Sean Murray in No Man's Sky, except this time with Luke Smith from Bungie. I will link to this video in the description so that you can check it out if you haven't seen it. It's a good watch and pretty funny as well. A couple highlights were the confirmation of the new ghost shells being added to the game, and that there will be a total of 8 new multiplayer maps coming to the Taken King. There is more in those interviews than those 2 points, so definitely go watch it when you get the chance. A few days after that interview, we finally got a video of a new exotic in the Taken King called Sleeper Simulant. It's a fusion rifle for your heavy slot and is essentially a really awesome Spartan laser. When you charge the weapon up after a fair charge time, it fires a red laser that is capable of a single bounce off a wall without any perks, but when fully upgraded it will be able to bounce up to 5 times if fired in the right environment. I can't show the video here, but you can find a link in the description to where you can find a video of this weapon firing if you want to see it in action. While it looks fun to use and all, I just don't know why Bungie keeps throwing weapons our way with perks that cause whatever it fires to bounce. It's just not exactly a perk that is super useful, and generally weapons with perks like this go unused, for the most part like Hardlight is right now. In the end, we'll just have to see how it plays, and who knows, it could be really quite good. And then came the interview on storytelling in the Taken King, which I will link in the description so that you may watch, but the biggest things to take out of it are cutscenes galore for one, and that objects or characters, friend or foe, and dead or alive, can be optionally scanned for some exposition about them. Bungie was keen on stating that this is not the grimoire inside of the game, but it's definitely something that any lore nut will enjoy. I know I will. Game Informer then had an article discussing the 8 new multiplayer maps that will be coming with the Taken King. However, I thought that information deserved a video of its own, so that video will be coming soon. To conclude this bit of a catch-up video, Destiny's future with the Taken King looks bright, and most of the changes that are on their way, even though they may be a little big and frankly a little scary, are going to be good for the game in the long run. I truly believe that. So keep your light safe, Guardians, and I'll see you next time.